Right. Well, welcome back, everyone. I think I missed you guys the last coffee chat, so I'm so happy to be with you. I think that was the first coffee chat that I have missed. So thanks for Sullivan to taking over a couple of weeks ago, and I'm so pleased to be back. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Lindsay Lehr. I'm the Managing Director of Payments and Commerce Market Intelligence. We organize these meetings pretty much twice per month to offer a space of mutual learning, of shared insights. We invite different guest speakers and cover different topics, covering the payments industry, primarily in Latin America, but increasingly in other geographies around the world. So welcome. We're so thrilled to have you here. A couple of just quick announcements and guidelines before we jump into our content today. If we go ahead, we'll just take a very quick look at our standard legal notice that you'll see in almost every chat that we have. And if we go ahead, just a couple of caveats, right? This is not a webinar. This is not a typical presentation. Okay, this is what we call a coffee chat, which is meant to be an open meeting. So I love to have your mics on, your cameras on. You're free and invited to jump in and ask questions or make comments at any time. Okay, you can wave at me. You can wave your hand using the emoji. You can put a comment in the chat. You can just jump in. And I invite my usual suspects to help make the group feel comfortable by going ahead and jumping in at your leisure. Okay, please, as well, keep in mind, this is an open meeting, so you may have competitors, investors, journalists in the room, so just mind your comments like you would in any normal in-person conversation or event. All right, so thank you for that. Before we get started, I'm gonna have a real quick ask of all of you. Earlier this year, we launched what is called the PCMI Intelligence Portal, which is basically an online portal. You get a username and password, and in that portal, you have access to our historical database of thought leadership, our coffee chat decks, as well as all of our white papers, presentations, and over 100 pieces of content. Now, I invited only our coffee chat members. This is still an experiment. We haven't even launched this to our wider audience yet. It's been about 6 months. Many of you have enrolled. Not all of you have had that opportunity, but I would love for you, please, if you have enrolled in this, please scan that QR code and just help us with a quick 5-minute survey. Honestly, it takes even less than that, 3 to 5 minutes. Just tell us, have you used it? Do you like it? Is it valuable? What other content would you like to see? This will really help us. And you guys are, my testing ground. You're my Petri dish. So I really, really love and appreciate your impact. So I'm just going to leave that up there for another moment for you to copy it. And Sullivan, if you could even share the link in the chat, that would also be helpful to folks. All right. That's right, Alfredo. Many of us were in Money 2020 last week. Probably many of you guys on the call were at Money 2020 last week. I saw some of you had the opportunity to meet many friends from around the industry in person, which is always so exciting. I'm glad to see it. Yeah, I missed you, Alfredo, as well. And so happy to hear and share anecdotes and insights from Money 2020 as well in this conversation, because that's always such an exciting time. And there's a big spillover effect, right? Everything we're learning and the connections we're making. So, all right. So great. We'll show that once again at the end, but I do insist, please help us with that quick survey. All right. And with that, we can go ahead. All right. So I am so pleased today to welcome Juan Pablo Boccardi, Senior Director of Payments at Simetrik, which is a very interesting SaaS company that we're going to hear from today. Welcome, Juan Pablo. Thank you so much. Looking forward to learning from you and learning about Simetrik.
Thanks, Lindsay. I don't know. We are very happy with all Simetrik team to be here and to talk because this is more like a conversation than a presentation. So we are happy to do that.
Amazing. Great. So very quickly before I invite you to share your slides, I want to give a little bit of context. Most of the time in our coffee chats, we're hearing from, well-known big brands in the industry, PSPs, And Simetrik, you guys are a little bit different. And today, what I'm hoping that we're going to do is really learn about the merchant perspective. We don't hear the voice of the merchant very often, or service providers that are directly helping merchants optimize their payments. So that's a little bit of the goal today. And so again, I invite the audience to really dig in and take advantage of this session because it's a little bit unique. And I'm excited. So let's go ahead, Juan, and we'll turn it over to you to again, yeah, show us what you have for us today, and of course we'll have a back and forth as you go.
Yeah. So thanks, Lindsay. I present myself. My name is Juan Pablo Boccardi. I am industry value advisor at Simetrik. Then we will talk more about what Simetrik is and what challenge we are solving, because we think that this is not a conversation about Simetrik. It's a conversation about how we can navigate together the payment environment in all the world, but focus on the emerging markets, because we think that in the emerging markets, we are facing more challenges and as a consequence, more business opportunities. And we are trying to unravel the complexities of the payment environment. So we are happy to be here. And just to clarify, we won't just talk about merchant perspective, but all the perspective in the ecosystem. Merchant, of course, but also PSP, acquirers, financial institution, marketplaces. So we talk about how we can help all of them in this new era that is very interesting, but is very challenging also. So we can move forward. Just to start, is something that we usually say. It's okay, the financial system is moving and changing faster than ever. We are living in a complex world, but mostly in a financial complex world. And why? We consider that there are like 5 reasons or 5 trends that explain why the financial system is moving too fast. The first, the explosion of fintech products and services. You know, Angela Strange said 5 years ago that today every company will be a fintech company, and we are living that. Every day, big tech, startups, bank, consumer industries are launching new products. If you enter to LinkedIn every day, you say, okay, I don't know, Apple is launching a new financial service. A big marketplace in Mexico is launching a wallet. In Argentina, the biggest company, that is Mercado Libre, has their own payment product, that is Mercado Pago, that is also bigger than the marketplace. So we are facing that. We have just in Latin America, we have 2,208 fintechs, and they are growing year by year at a 15 or 10% rate. There are more business lines that are operating differently, yeah? And at the same time, you not just have more products, more business. All of them in the market are different and are very segmented for a specific niche. For example, you have a wallet focused on one pain point, I don't know, for all the young people. You can have another wallet focused on cross-border solutions. You can have another one focused on small medium merchant. You have more products in the market that could seem to each other, but at the end of the day are all different. At the same time, another challenge is we are facing like a world in which we have larger volumes of digital transactions. First one, moving from cash to digital. In Latin America, according to the World Bank Global Fintechs, almost half of Latin Americans over 14 years have never made a digital payment. That's a challenge for all of us. The other trend, moving from point of sale to e-commerce. Now we have the 20% of the total commerce in the world that is online, and it's growing year by year. And the third one is one of the, I think, the topic that we love to discuss here is cross-border transactions. Almost 21% of the transactions in the world are cross-border. It's another important challenge of the financial systems. At the same time, more payment methods are for pay-in and payout. In Latin America, we have 400 of different payment methods if we include the traditional one and we consider credit card and debit card in a different country because the acquirers are local, so we can consider that as different payment methods. And if you add the alternative payment methods, cards, cash network, wallet, real-time payments, wise lender, loyalty programs, telco payments, crypto. You have a lot. And you have more business logic, more standard, and different formats that keep changing all the time. Something that I like to say is that you have entities, or you have PSP or acquirers that in which coexist the ISO 8583, that this was 30 years ago, at the same time that this company works with API. So you have to understand how you can deal as company with both technologies. Another trend, it is very important, temporary initiatives happen more often. Temporary promotions, contract renegotiations. The business is changing all the time, yeah, because the business is adapting every time to serve different kind of client or customer. And the last one is not my, is one of my favorite. It's not favorite because of that. It's favorite from the way we help to solve it. Is regulators are getting more demanding. All of you, I think that you can say that, asking for faster reporting with no errors, caring about user governance, and provide or promoting high levels of automation. That is the challenge that the financial system is facing. Next, Lindsay. And at the same time, enterprise are also evolving fast from within. For example, as a consequence of this cross-border trend, they are expanding to new geographies faster than ever. In Latin America, we have, considering the Caribbean islands, we have 46 different payment systems, one of each country. It means more currencies, more tax systems, more languages and teams. And companies should deal with or have to deal with that. At the same time, as a consequence of the growth of the war in the payments, we have larger total process or payment volume, gross merchandise volume, asset under management, revenue, all the metrics that mean that companies are growing very fast. And it's a happy news, but it's also bad news because you have higher exposure to financial risk. And at the same time, we discuss a lot about AI here. AI makes fraud more accessible also, yeah? AI is an opportunity for all of us, but it's also a risk, yeah? We have smarter hackers than ever. At the same time, from a technological point of view, all the migration to cloud-based solutions. Why? To avoid in-house support and maintenance, and to also be updated with the latest tech available, yeah, that you can access to. At the same time, another evolution that the enterprise are facing is the hyper automation. It's like a top of mind. It's one of the most important topics that C-levels are discussing now. How you can reduce costs and expenses, how you can avoid manual errors from an operational risk perspective, how you can reduce operational complexity, yeah, how you can scale. And another thing that is very important also is how we can work with AI. The AI for data interaction and analysis is very, very important. Why? To make that accessible with natural languages for all the company, and also to improve data analysis and all the decision-making process. Next, Lindsay. And the problem is that the existing tools fall short on what's needed from a control perspective, yeah? Usually, how you can solve these kind of challenges? Some companies use the in-house development, yeah? The problem with the in-house development is that it's costly, yeah? It requires a lot of external technical expertise. And at the same time that you need to update to your internal systems, you need to focus or dedicate part of your team in your value proposition. So, and that's a problem, yeah? You can't, as a CTO, I am in the mind of a CTO, if you have limited resources, the most important for you is how, from a, I don't know, PSP perspective or acquired perspective, how you can provide more technological services from merchants, for example, and not how you can deal with the complexity, because the complexity is something that you can solve with another tool. And then we will talk more about Simetrik. The other way of solving these kind of things, the manual operations, yeah, you know, it's not efficient from a cost perspective. It could cause different errors. It's not scalable. The legacy systems, you have a lot of different data silos in your organization, and it is a problem because you need to maintain it, and you need to build more infrastructure above of that. That's a problem. And of course, I'm talking about a world that is changing a lot. Having inflexible solutions to deal with your complexity is also a problem, because I like to tell stories. I don't know if some of you working from Argentina, if you work from Argentina, every Thursday, the central bank changed all the regulation. If you are a payment company in Argentina and you are, I don't know, a CFO or C-level, you can't dinner on Thursday with your family. You have to be waiting what central bank is trying to change and implement it for next Monday. That is really
hell. Can I ask a question? Is that a joke or is that real?
No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's real.
Oh my God!
Every Thursday, someone from Argentina could I feel confirm this, but it's something that you can deal. But it's not just Argentina. The different countries in the emerging markets usually change a lot, because of like a lack of a standard or legal standard. You have better jurisdictions than others. Probably Argentina or Venezuela are not the best, but in Argentina we also have a financial system, and it works more or less, but it changed a lot because the world is changing a lot. Not think just about the problem, but also about the velocity, and the way that it was changing. Next one.
I was just thinking. I mean, I love the potential value that AI brings, because traditionally what it is that, and this is like just the reality without AI for any industry, is that you categorize your customer base into groups. And it's like, this group of customers will want this and we'll provide this for them. And you end up with a few groups. AI allows you to individualize that because it's automated. It's not someone on the end of a phone. You can automate it and customize for anybody, any customer, however size, whatever size they are. What suddenly came to mind was, I wonder if you can have AI to respond to the Argentinian government changes in regulations. So they come out with new regulations, and half an hour later, you've already delivered on them. And like, what? What do you mean you've delivered on them?
That's a big challenge. And I want to say that as Simetrik, we have like already tools aiming to address this issue. And we have two, but there are three, because you mentioned that the last one is no code perspective, the possibility to work with a tool that you can manage without technical expertise, because it's changing a lot. It's changing very fast. And you need to change it now. You have to adapt your system to the new regulation, the new change of the industry. That's a part. The big data capabilities, that is very important. And the third one is AI, that we will talk more about that, but it's very, very important to address all these issues that we mentioned. We are totally agree with that. And the next one, Lindsay. And just about Simetrik, because I think it's the most important of this is, I think, the discussion about all the problems or challenges that we are facing, but also we want to tell you how we solve it from Simetrik as company, what we understand that we can add value in this like extremely complex financial world. Simetrik is a SaaS solution. It's a software as a service solution, cloud-based, that automates high volume, complex reconciliations with a powerful no-code technology, a technology that you can manage like Excel. It's not Excel, but with the same UI, that give you complete operational and financial control. And now using also AI is the part of the value proposition that we improved this year. We have like almost 200 of transactions reconciled daily. We integrate more than 1,200 sources of information integrated into a single platform. Think about a cross-border PSP. In Latin America, we have very, very important cross-border PSP. Think about each PSP that work in 30 countries and should be connected to the different sources of the different payment methods in order to understand if it cut flow, is correct, for example, it is receiving all the money, if all the transactions are correctly registered, if all the chargebacks are duly notified, for example. What companies we are working with, or what company trusts us? Mercado Pago, Mercado Libre, Payu, Rappi, Bancolombia, Ualá, Transbank, Pipro, Nubank, dLocal, all the most important payment companies in Latin America, and working with us to solve all the financial automation and reconciliations different issues. Also, we are opening new markets in India, for example, and Singapore. We got a new client some weeks ago. The name is Aspire. It's one of the most important wallets of Asia. We are seeing that all the emerging markets, at the end of the day, have the same problem dealing with the information with the different payment methods. That's something very interesting, that the problems that a merchant or PSP is facing in Asia, in Africa, are very similar of the problem that we are facing here in Latin America. That's very, very funny. And the last one is, or the last slide, the next one is, okay, how we solve it. Okay, Simetrik enables an end-to-end control, as I mentioned, over all the operational, financial, and compliance process with 3 components. Yeah, to be honest, there are 4 because we are adding an AI feature to this, but with 3 main components. An ETL component that automatically extract data from any source. You can use API, but I mentioned that some acquirers or some companies in Latin America are still using the ISO 8583. That probably you know a lot about that. Yeah, it's very, very old message, different. That the last, I think the last update was 20 years ago. Now we are going to the new ISO 220, okay? But in Latin America and in emerging market, we need to deal with any different data with the format that you can assume that is very, very complex. For example, we also work with acquirers that they are working with the incoming and outgoing files from Visa, that you know they are very, very complicated to understand and to ingest your data system. We are working with that. We have like strong ETL capabilities. And then the most important part of our value proposition, that is the universal conciliator. Yeah, this is a tool that is a no-code, low-code, as I mentioned before, that you can use without AT expertise, that allows you to customize and set all the reconciliation rules that you need with dashboard, with alerts, in order to understand how is working your business. Just to clarify, this is a tool not just for small merchants, probably small, medium merchants. They have some complexity, but we are more focused on big merchants, cross-border PSP, big acquirers, financial services company in general, wallet, and that kind of companies. And the last part is like the third component of our value proposition is the feature that we name Accounting Translator, that give you the possibility to integrate all your reconciliation information that you work with your ERP or with all the systems that you need. So here you can like assure a full traceability of all your transactions. Yeah, from the moment that you receive the data, the source from the acquirer, the PSP, from the network, up to the moment that you register this in the accountancy. Yeah, that is like our end-to-end value proposition and the way in which we are solving the complexities of the new payment world. Thank you. Now I open to
amazing, nicely done. Thank you, Juan. So I a few questions, right? Just to really explain this to the audience and also to us at PCMI, right? Let's go back one, Sullivan, back to that slide, because I want, like, okay, let's take this to a very basic level. Imagine a small business, right?
Yeah.
They might have a product like QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks, you connect your bank account, you connect your business credit card, it extracts all the transactions into this nice dashboard, and it essentially automatically, to a certain extent, reconciles the charges and the income, you receive income, you have invoices, you have payments, and it reconciles everything so that there's a clear record of your financial transactions, and every transaction is connected to the source, right? That's essentially what we're talking about, right? That's at a very, very basic level, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Small business, I have my bank account and my credit card. That's it. That's all I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And then my clients, right? So can you relate this to that example?
Yeah, it's an example from a small merchant.
Very baby, simplified example.
Yeah. For example, in the ETL, you receive, I don't know, you have, we are working with an acquirer. You receive the report from the acquirer. Yeah. I don't know, they send you it by an SFTP or an email, because some acquirers work in Latin America with emails. It's unbelievable, but it works. It happens.
When you say email, do you just mean like an Excel attachment with a list of a CSV file with a long list of your transactions? Yeah.
And of course, that for bigger merchant, they probably have an SFTP file or an API. I don't know. Yeah. But they receive a CSV in an email. Yeah. And you can integrate it automatically, to this platform, to this Simetrik platform, and you will see into the platform this source with all the information normalized in different columns. That's one file. But we are talking about reconciliation. Reconciliation is a comparison. It's a comparison between two different sources. You have that, and you have your internal database that you can connect or upload to the systems, and then you will see like a screen. Here we have like a small screen there in which you can analyze what kind of transaction or which transaction you have in one part and you have in another part, with red or green color in this case, and with the percentage. And you can see then what kind of transaction are you matching and what kind of transaction are not matched specifically for this case. This is very simple from a small merchant. In small merchant, you can say, Juan Pablo, I can do it in Excel. Yes, you can do it. But when you start to add more and more and more payment methods, and you can to reconcile more and more transactions with millions of transactions, you can use Excel to do this. For different reasons. It's not traceable, it's not secure, it's not scalable. You need a platform in which you can trace in millions of transactions. Perhaps you need to trace one, because we have one problem with one collection, and you can see this and use this from to analyze and to reconcile. And the last part is, okay, you have your reconciliation. You understand that, I don't know, if you have a reconciled transaction, you talk with the acquirer or the PSP or Visa or Mastercard. Okay, you set all your reconciliation. Then you need to set all this information to the ERP, in a group, because you don't send each transaction, talking about millions of transactions, you don't send one transaction to ERP, you send a group of transactions. And you can like write the accountants. But the important thing is sometimes the transactions change, because I want to say that transactions are alive. You have like authorization, then you have a chargeback, a refund, second chargeback. You have the transactions.
They're constantly in flow, right? They're constantly
in flow. So with this tool, you can like write real time. You can say all your accountancy, and you can assure that your operational database, your financial database, or your ERP are like with the same information. And this is very, very important for big companies.
Okay. So I think I saw a hand. I don't know if it went down, but JP, did you have a question? Maybe it was a mistake.
I have an observation which is interesting. One of the realities of this industry that we are all in, and hopefully we all actually love this industry with all its faults. We're here to try and fix those. But one of the realities with the real-time aspect, with the transaction volume aspect, with the regulatory aspect of it, is no one can do everything anymore. Maybe 40 years ago, you could do that, mostly out of you had to. You had to like rely on Visa to do everything for you, or the big banks. But that's just not the reality anymore. And so the opportunity comes up for companies like Simetrik to say, we're going to focus on this and we're going to do a really good job so that guys don't have to do that. And there are so many great companies that are doing exactly that. They're finding a little niche and say, we're going to do this so no one else has to. And we're going to do it really, really well. That's the future of this. And I love seeing it. So it's an observation.
Increasing specialization, right? And increasingly niche areas of expertise. Juan, Sally, let's go back one slide, because you guys have some pretty great clients regionally. And as you can see, you've got major acquirers like Transbank and Credibanco. You've got cross-border PSPs like dLocal, eBanks. You've got merchants. And so, and you've got e-commerce, OXXO's primarily brick and mortar, but of course they have their whole digital branch as well. So, we talk about payment method trends. You guys have heard us talk about it all throughout the year, but I'm curious, Juan, from your perspective, viewing the data, that you're seeing, what can you tell us about payment method trends and where things are headed? And of course, we're always interested in PIX and how that is impacting things. And now that's a real-time payment method that you have to reconcile. So just talk to us a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing.
I think the most important trend is that immediate payments they're beating debit card transactions. You can see it in Brazil, that PIX is bigger than debit card. We are facing some kind of challenges in Argentina also, with the new regulation of transfer 3.0 and QR, interoperable QRs. That I think is trend, and it has like an impact to the reconciliation process. Why? Because immediate payments need immediate reconciliation. You can wait because the money flow. You say, okay, I receive at the same time that I receiving authorizing the transaction, I like releasing the money. Or almost in real time. So I think that there you have a big trend from like also payment trend, but it's also like a reconciliation issue trend. Both things. And another thing that you are seeing is, okay, we mentioned that almost half of Latin Americans over 14 years, according World Bank, they have never made a digital payments. But we are seeing that at the same time, we have 2,208 fintechs in Latin America that they are supporting different consumers and different small medium merchants to accept different way of payment methods. So I think that we are in like an extraordinary moment in which, as Latin Americans, we are exporting our talent in payment to the world, our solutions. Some countries are copying in Africa, in Europe, in America. They are copying our solutions. They are learning from us. It's very, very important. I want to mention Nubank in Brazil, Mercado Pago in North Latin America, eBanks, dLocal. They are like big players on their field. So I think it's another trend. From in the past, the flow was the opposite. We received trend from Europe. I don't know, a Visa implemented EMB in Europe, and then we received the mandate, and we need to adapt all our POS to EMB. Okay, now it's different. It's Latin America is setting the new standard of working with different payment methods. I'm very happy with that, and I think that is part of this conversation also. I think we are like exporting this knowledge to other countries. I think that's a nice trend also.
And Juan, tell us, you mentioned AI, right? That's like the hot topic in 2020. Everything was about AI. So tell us about how, if you're already using AI, if you're developing it, how that will impact your business. Because certainly anytime you talk about data, AI is relevant.
We have an MVP now, that probably we will release into some friends and family clients. In short time is we learn a lot about the co-pilot features, for example, of Microsoft. We understood that sometimes our clients, they don't know how to start reconciling. They don't have the expertise because they are growing so fast and there are no manuals to do this, to be honest. Or Visa and MasterCard manual, for example, very complicated. Acquirers, usually, they don't have manuals to reconcile. We're very complicated. So given that we have all this knowledge that we learn from different world-class clients, we develop our own feature in order to copilot or suggest to the different clients the best way to manage their reconciliation process, to establish their reconciliation rules from a natural language perspective with a chat, with natural language. Or, for example, you are a CFO. The CFO, they don't know how to use or how to reconcile, but they are interested in the result of the reconciliation. For a CFO, for example, asking to the data or talking with data is the name of this internal process. How a CFO could talk with their data. For example, why I have a less authorization rate that last month than last week, or why our reconciliation rate is increasing, or why the reconciliation of one important acquirer of some country is not working well. And trying to talk with the data from like a business perspective is like the way in which we say that we can add value. It's not just AI as a trend, it's using AI to connect the different business line with the data. I think it's the most important value that we can add from that perspective or with that tool.
So I'm not sure if I fully understood you, but you mentioned the chat, right? And being able to talk to the data. Are you guys actually developing a chat where you can ask those types of questions?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably soon we can show to you, not now, but in some weeks we can show and present it to all of you and interact and see how a person or CFO or analyst could interact with their data. Because I think it's the next step. We starting like replacing all the manual tasks, and the human is not necessary now to like upload different or look up different sources of information. And now you have a person with all the knowledge that could, I think, add value to the data from that perspective. It's like using the operational teams to be like analyst teams. Yeah.
So this is, just an aside on this. I was at a conference in London a couple of weeks ago about remittances and cross-border payments in general. And this was a big topic, was the ability to, create a chatbot that you can chat with to say, why did this transaction get declined? Why am I seeing these decline rates? Where can what are opportunities to improve my success rate? And that's like that's really transformational, because decline rates in every area of payments is a huge pain point, and especially declining good transactions. So that's very exciting. Congrats on that.
We are working on that. Yeah.
Lindsay,
go ahead. I think someone had
I think Alfredo has a question.
Yeah, thanks. I was gonna say, to that extent, you mentioned the powerful no-code technology.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more about, how you arrived to that being a pain point and how that's helping CFOs and, personas adopting that tool.
Yeah, we talk a lot with different PSPs, merchants, and acquirers. We talk a lot with them, and they told us some interesting things. The first one is that they need to wait months from their IT teams to change some easier things in their process. For example, to add a new column in an acquirer report. Month. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because usually they use these legacy internal systems to work with their own or another tools, another vendor tools to work with that. That's the first point. And the second one, we talk with them and we ask, okay, if you think about your like dream tool, what things does it need to have? And they say, I want them like an Excel tool, because they work with Excel. So we design a tool in which you combine all the capabilities of big data or AI that we mentioned, but from a user perspective, is like an Excel. So the analyst, the financial operation, is familiarized with that and can learn about using the tool without like IT knowledge. Yeah. For example, we have some functionalities that are also in Excel. For example, we have like a VLOOKUP. Yeah. For example, or those kind of commands that you have in Excel. That's the other insight that we learn from them. Is like how to do it fast without OT and how you can use with the same UI like the Excel. So we combine that.
It's really interesting, Juan, because it's funny. I don't know, however, how many people have this experience, but you might roll out the coolest dashboard, like software as a service type of thing, and it's just has all the bells and whistles, but inevitably the user reverts back to Excel.
Yeah.
And it happens in so many areas. And why is that? Is it just because that's what they're familiar with and it's easy to use and it's hard to learn a new tool? Is because Excel is just superior, like you can customize it truly to what you want it to do?
Yeah, I think it's flexible. Flexibility is the answer.
Flexibility.
You need a flexible tool to face all the challenges that we mentioned before, but at the same time, you need like reliability, you need like big data capability, and we combine both things. We combine like Excel with our version of Excel with our very, very powerful big data tool, and we build this product that is really, really like I want to say that it's like a revolution in the financial control. Yeah, and I think that the answer is, or that you are seeing what kind of client we're working with. I think like it's, I think that we are showing that we are solving this in a big scale. And the funny thing is that we are finding that the same problem exists, for example, in Singapore or in India. They work with legacy acquirers, with ISO 8583. They deal with banks with very, very complex reports. They deal with the incoming and outgoing file from Visa. They need to prepare the GOC or the QMR of MasterCard every month. So supporting companies to face those challenges is thing like a global opportunity. And it's, I think in emerging markets, it's bigger.
Absolutely, absolutely. Was there a comment? Okay, so one question I have, Juan, is how do you break through the noise from the competitive standpoint, right? I imagine that CTOs, CFOs, these engineering teams are constantly bombarded with offers from B2B companies, from SaaS solutions, not only touching any, like Nick said, any area of the payments value chain, and not just payments, but IT in general. I mean, just at PCMI, we're constantly flooded with just cold emails, cold messages. And even if you're looking for a particular solution, if you've never heard of a company before, you may just not know how to move forward. So I guess my question is, what questions should buyers of SaaS software be asking their providers when they're getting solicited for business? And you can answer it in the other way too. Like what's your success approach for breaking through?
I love that question. I think there is not like a definitive answer to that, but I want to say that when we discuss with CTOs and technological partners, and they understand that with this tool, they will be able to focus on the most important part of the value proposition, and they will release all their operational teams or the IT teams that are focused on this, they love us. Why? Because, Lindsay, if you have a company, do you invest in your own Excel, in your own Word, in your own email provider, in your own CRM? Probably not. This is the same. That's the approach, is focus on the part of your value proposition that could help you to increase your revenue, and try to like delegate or tercerize this part to a company that is focused on solving that from a cost efficiency perspective, and that's link the growth of the tool, the cost, with your growth. That's another thing. It's about the monetization model. We work, and we the SaaS perspective charge you at the same time or the same path that you are growing. Yeah, so you don't have to like invest a lot if you don't have a lot of volume. That's very important. How will be the picture in the future is another question that I suggest for working with us. Yeah, and another thing is, this is more from a product perspective. Ask software as a service companies about their roadmap. What's your roadmap? What kind of features will you develop in the future? How can I influence as client in this roadmap? That's very important.
That's interesting.
Very,
Creating more
very
of a partnership, growth partnership type
Yeah.
of relationship.
And of course, from like Simetrik perspective, we are a product, so we are not like a software factory. We don't provide like a customized solution for each client, but of course that we talk and we listen to our clients in order to think how we can build the best product in the future. So that I think is a very important question from product perspective.
Yeah, I love that. What's in your roadmap and how can I influence your roadmap?
Yeah.
I think that's great. So let me ask you the question then, Juan. What's in your future roadmap, and how do you plan to continue to add value to clients going forward?
Well, I think that have like a stronger AI capabilities is the most important thing, because this is related to this trend to talk to your data is very important from C-levels. We are investing a lot in dashboard, in all analytics. It's like, because I always say that reconciliation is just an excuse. It's the first part. You need to match the transaction. But the important thing is all the value that you can build above that. I think it's most important. And another thing is trying to understand what are the different uses of the data in the payment industry in order to build features on that. For example, reports. We know that there are a lot of different companies that they are like struggling with all the report demanded by central banks. Okay, how we can help in order to integrate our solution with their report solutions. ERP, how we can assure that all the data in an ERP is in the same level of the operational data. I think it's trying to go with the transaction in all the different touch points. It's something that we are thinking about in our roadmap.
Perfect. Sullivan, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Thanks, Lindsay. Juan, you mentioned it before about new trends and changes in the regulatory perspective, and thinking about data access and integrating data. I was thinking about open finance right now, which is not only a trend in Brazil, but in the whole world, I guess. How does open finance plays a role in your business? Like, do you see as an opportunity? You'll be able to access more data or like better data in an open finance environment, or this is not related?
No, Sullivan. It's definitely a big opportunity, because more data, best data at the end of the day is better reconciliation, better information in the company, better results, better abilities to predict trends. So I think it's an important trend that we will work with through our clients, of course. So we are seeing that as an opportunity. Of course, that at the same time, there are a lot of data regulations. We, for this case, from Simetrik perspective, we are ISO. We have different ISOs. We are SOC level 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you are working with this company or with this kind of company, as like a PSP or acquirer or client perspective, try to ask them about how we deal with data, how they are complying with different regulations. and something that is important, Sullivan, is, okay, you have the good part. This is, we are about open data, all the new providers and care sharing information. But at the same time, local regulations are not always adapted to these like new trends. For example, Mexico is someone from Mexico here. That the CNBB is very, very strict with all the data treatment. So as company, you need to be prepared to face those regulatory challenges. Yeah, but definitively finance, open banking is one of the biggest opportunity of our era from the payment side.
Oh, perfect.
Fantastic. And Juan, let's talk about fraud for a moment.
Yeah.
What role do you all have in detecting and combating fraud?
Yeah. To be honest with you, given that we are like after the authorization process, we are not preventing fraud itself, but we are helping companies to deal with it. For example, provided the chargeback information in like sooner. For example, I talked with some companies, some PSP, that they delayed 3 days processing chargebacks. 3 days is a lot, yeah, from a PSP perspective. But usually when you have, I don't know, merchant fraud, you release the money and then you receive the chargeback notification. So being like accurate with the time in which you are detecting or you are processing the chargebacks or processing the transactions, I think it's the way in which we are like collaborating with companies to face this. I think the most important pay point, according to Nielsen, in the next 10 years, the companies will lose 500 million in fraud. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important. That's the way in which we are approaching to fraud, helping companies to manage the consequence of fraud. Yeah, and for example, to hold payouts from a PSP is very important. Yeah, for example, we can detect some transactions that we provide them, and then if they process it sooner, they can like hold the payouts. Yeah, and don't release the money that probably will go to different hackers. That's important.
So actually, I'm glad you mentioned payouts, because I wanted to ask you, I see, platforms, Rappi, Pedidos Ya, Mercado Libre. Are you also reconciling payouts for companies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Simetrik is like an agnostic tool. It's a software as a service. Given that it's a no-code, low-code, you can set all the use cases that you want. Yeah. You can set, and you can mostly, yeah, we have, I think 7% of the use cases are more focused on money in, but also we work with money out, we work with logistic, we work with accounting, reconciliation. You can set all the reconciliation uses and all the use cases that you want, because it's a no-code, low-code. Yeah, that, of course, that you have features that are like oriented to pay in, pay out, but you can use it from all the use cases that you want. There are banks, for example, that are using it. We have JB Cuevas, that is our expert in bank, and he is facing a lot of different challenges in banks, more from like an internal perspective with the big data challenge. It's another way of using this tool. It's not just reconciliation. Reconciliation is just an excuse.
Just an excuse. I like that. Yeah. It's just a way to get connected, yeah, and then you can innovate from there. JP has his hand up. No. Okay. Well, just one more question before we wrap up, Juan, which is, you mentioned fraud and chargebacks. What can you tell us about transaction reversals or chargebacks or refunds with PIX and other instant payment methods?
Yeah, I think it's you, of course, that you can set all the different rules into our systems. What I'm seeing is that it's, at the end of the day, it depends about all the information that, in the case of PIX, the banks provides to you. Yeah, I'm seeing that is.
First of all, I guess my question is, are they occurring, right? Are you seeing reversals of these transactions?
Yeah, we are seeing.
Okay.
I'm not seeing like I can't talk about trends because I don't know what percentage they are and what kind of things they're facing. But I'm saying that some of our clients are using the tool to reconcile that. Yeah.
Okay. That's just a big question mark that we still haven't quite learned enough about is, you know, the chargeback process is very established and very well documented, but in an irrevocable instant transaction, what happens if the customer wants to make a return or
then it's for another conversation about how instant payment system works. In some countries, you have there are no possibility to chargebacks, or it's more difficult. I think it's given that there is no standard. Of course, that you use PIX and UPA of India as the most important use cases. I think each country and each regulation and each systems will determine the way in which you can deal with reversal, refund, voids, and the kind of things.
Okay.
So I have a quick question. I can see from the map there's a lot of growth potential in Africa and Southeast Asia for you. Just new countries to go into because you're already breaking into those global regions. You don't have anything in there for Europe or North America, north of Mexico. Are you offering any services there, maybe a limited number of them, or are you really keeping out of those markets?
Yeah, to be honest, we are, it's like a long conversation, but to sell this kind of product in different countries, you need to establish, to be honest, you need to establish local teams to deal with that. There are different challenges. In Europe, what we are seeing like a less level of complexity. So the pain is not so high. So some companies are like saying that, okay, I can deal with that with my internal tool. That's another thing. From like American perspective, sometimes it's not so easy from a new Latin American tool to open massively the market. So we have some clients, they are like small clients, some neobanks, and we are growing like with baby steps for that. Yeah. And I think
your growth path here makes sense. We've seen Latin American fintechs make the jump to Africa and then to Southeast Asia.
We are following them
to North America, right? So it's kind of this horizontal growth rather than going north. Which
but also we are working. Well. We have a team. We have a team in America. We have an account executive there. We are working with some partner to develop. But I think it's a big bet also America. Yeah, you know, it's the biggest market in the world, and we are seeing that perhaps it's easily to find the same kind of or problems in Asia. So we are saying, okay, we are starting to grow in both, but we are the market is responding more in Asia, to be honest.
Got it.
That's now. Always to change, but that's now.
So we are going to have to wrap up. This hour flew by. Juan, thank you so much, and the whole Simetrik team, Caro, and everyone tuned in for your support. Let's just go to the contact page so that folks can connect with Juan Pablo. If you guys have more questions, looking for more information, partnership, just ideas or a chat, please follow up. That's what these chats are for. So Juan, thank you again so much for bringing your expertise and sharing with us. And I definitely learned, and I'm looking forward to following this segment a bit more.
Perfect, Lindsay. For the rest of the people, thank you a lot. And if you will be in Argentina or Brazil in November, we are being sponsor of some events, and we will have like a private space to talk with client, customer, partners. So keep in contact with me or with Carolina Moraguet or JP Cuevas in order to meet in person if we can. We are in Argentina and Brazil in November. There will be a lot of fintech important events. So it's not the same of Money 2020, but I think that you probably will enjoy the same.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And just a final shout out to our group. Please join us back in 2 weeks, November 13th. Most likely, we're going to be talking about inviting my colleague, Arthur, to talk about sustainability, ESG strategy, environmental strategy in the payments industry, which is a fascinating and rapidly trending topic. So make sure to bookmark that. We'll see you all back here in 2 weeks. Happy Halloween. I hope everyone has fun dressing up, trick-or-treating. Be safe. We'll see you all soon.